But coming back here, you probably visited tons of companies and talked to them deeply and learned a lot. And you discovered a lot of constraints from the companies and also made a lot of companies become more profitable. Do you think there are maybe some usual constraints most of the companies have? Like, did you manage to see like the same constraints on a lot of companies?
The answer is, of course, yes. First of all, if I can correct you, you say you. I'm not like a one-person show.
Yeah, when I say you, I mean your company, Goldratt, your family,
we have a team.
The methodology.
Actually, I don't think my strength is really in consultancy. I think that I have very good consultants that are much better in consulting companies. Maybe my strength is to surround myself with good people and create a brotherhood with them. But going back to your question, so, of course, with time and experience, we do see templates. We do see patterns where, the companies with a certain environment, the constraints are more or less the same. One of the pillars or fundamental beliefs of TOC, and that's what my father was very insisting on, is never say I know. So we need to train ourselves not to assume that we know everything, because this is inertia. And even though we think that we know where the constraints, validate it before you jump to any conclusion. I'll give you, example. If I see an environment that is like engineering, startup, R&D, service companies, and I see that they are scaling fast, okay?
Yes.
I can already speculate where is their constraint. Let me explain. These type of environments, which I just mentioned, work is not standard. Okay, R&D, startup. It's not repetitive work that you just can copy and cut and paste. Service companies. Some of it, yes, but a lot of it is not. Now, in this environment, inevitably, to do a quality job, you will depend on experts. Like in consultancy, that's the case. You will have some experts in whatever operations you're doing, and they need to do the job if you want to get the high standard jobs. Makes sense, no?
Yes, of course.
Now, if the organization is scaling fast, it means that you're introducing a lot of non-standard work into your operations, which immediately means that your experts will be greatly overloaded. Whoever are the experts. Now, work, and even if you recruit people, okay, it's very difficult to find these experts and recruit them. Most people you recruit will not be these experts. Or it will take time to accumulate the experience that will make them into experts. Now, work cannot wait for these experts to be available. They are overloaded. It means there is a lot of backlog of tasks in front of them, queue. Work cannot wait. So, inevitably, less experienced people will do the job. And with little guidance, because the experts are busy. And it's non-standard work. You cannot just bring them to school and train them and that's it. They can do all the jobs perfectly. It doesn't work like that in these environments. Now, if less experienced people do the job, what will happen?
Less quality.
A lot of mistakes and a lot of rework.
Burnout for some.
Correct. Who needs to fix the mistakes?
The leaders.
These experts that are totally overloaded.
Yes.
Now you have a vicious cycle. They need to do their job and to fix all the mistakes and to train the new people. Now, one of the things we always see in this environment, everybody in this environment will tell you, we need to standardize the work. We need the manuals. We need the guidebooks, the protocols. We call it in industry SOP.
You're kind of describing the meeting we just had.
I didn't know.
No, thank you. Now give us the solution.
I'll tell you. I'll give you a solution. I'll tell you. We need just to make sure everybody are with us. So we need the SOPs, standard operating procedures. Okay, that's like the guidebook. Now, what's the problem? Who needs to write the manuals?
The experts.
They're very busy. And since work is not standard, it's impossible to write a manual that will cover, forget about all, most cases you will not be able to cover. So either the manuals will be ignored or they will be followed and you make mistakes. And you require even more time from your experts. You're in a vicious cycle. So I'm not saying you should not write manuals and standard operating procedure, but there is a reason why you don't have them. There is a reason. And the major reason is the people that need to write them are extremely busy and work is not standard. So what's the solution? Let's start by understanding what's the constraint. What is the bottleneck? The experts in this environment. What did we learn? We need to exploit the bottleneck to get the most out of it. How do you do it? You need to define, and that's not easy. You need to really sit and think about it. What is this expertise that only the experts should do? That if it's done by less experienced people, mistakes are guaranteed. What is this expertise? Like in my consultancy, I will say the expertise is not knowledge of theory of constraints. This we can train people. The expertise in my profession will be change management. How do you really convince companies and leaderships to make the changes? Not easy. If you let less experienced people do it, you will fall on your face immediately. Which basically in my profession means everybody will tell you that the customer is obnoxious and dumb and irritated. Of course, all the consultants will blame the customer. I came to learn when my consultants blame the customer, I know job was not done well by us. But never mind, that's another story. I opened my wound to you. So you need to understand what is this expertise that only they can do, should do. And then look at what they're actually doing. And do you think that your experts are doing only this expertise? Of course not. They do many other things as well. For example, if you promote them to become managers, then they need also to manage. Now, I'm not saying do not promote them, but inevitably it means that they do a lot of things that are not this expertise, which is a waste of your constraint. Now, obviously the next step will be think how you can offload a lot of this non-expert work that they are doing to non-experts. Reveal capacity of your experts, okay? And now comes the most difficult part in this process. Remember we said these experts are your bottleneck, which means that there are a huge queue of work in front of them. If you reveal some of their capacity, let's say 20, 30%, because you're offloading non-expertise work from them, the pressure will be to immediately fill their time with more work. But that's a big mistake. Because since you're scaling fast, this backlog is of tasks, this queue of tasks is too big for you to manage with whatever capacity you revealed. It's not going to be sufficient. So the real solution, that's the winning formula if you want, is to use the time that you free up from your experts, to use this time for your experts to prepare and monitor less experienced people to do the job. You need to minimize the direct work that the experts are doing to the absolute necessary. They need only to do the expertise as much as possible. Most of the time, you want them to see that they are sitting with less experienced people. We call it full kit, but that's another thing. They need to prepare the less experienced people to do the job. It's not just before they do the job. It's also during the job. You need to define what are the stages that you tell the less experienced people, okay, you reach this point, you have to go back to the expert. He's available because you expose capacity. Back to the expert so he monitors and review what you have done before you proceed. That's the only way to scale in these environments. Now, as you're doing it, your less experienced people can write the manual, can write the SOPs.
But you think we should have the SOPs? Even though we are
eventually you do, because it's not that every work is different. There are parts that that are repeating themselves, and you can follow guidelines. Okay, but if you just think that you can solve the scaling fast problem by having your expert write manuals, you will fall on your face. It's you need to write encyclopedias.
Yes, you describe it one of our constraints, because last year we generated 2,400,000 leads. So it's a lot of leads. And we sent the best leads to our financial advisors to take care of them. But the best financial advisors, like in a month,
their capacity is limited.
The capacity is limited, yeah.
Correct.
And then the best advisors don't have time to do what you just told us. And we need more financial advisors coming in, and we start to have this problem because we need to hire good financial advisors, but we need them fast. So
that's the problem. That's exactly the problem.
Yes.
That's the inertia.
But the good ones are full.
That's the inertia. That's what I'm trying to tell you. What is the inertia in this system? That you say, okay, I'm very successful. That's why I'm growing, right? That's why I'm scaling. I'm very successful. So I can just keep the processes that made me so successful and add more resources. This is how I'll grow. But that's how you break, because the resources you're adding are many times not this expertise. These expert people are scarce. You need to look at what is the expertise that only they are doing, that only they should do. What are they doing? You will see they are not doing only that. And put like interest.
It's like applying the Pareto to this equation.
No, but I'm trying to reveal capacity for the 20% to get more.
Yeah. I mean, like 20% of the time of this expert, he's doing something that really depends on his expertise.
Yes, exactly. And that's why you can offload. But then remember, that's again the temptation. Think that the top financial advisors, suddenly you give them another day in the week. This is like 20% more. Another day of the week, boom, they have. They should not use this extra day
to work more,
to do more, to
thing.
work on more leads. No, they should use this day. Of course, you spread it during the week to help other people under them to do the job. Now, I'm not saying, my father always said, simple and easy is not the same thing. It's not easy. There's a lot of change management you need to do there. Like some of these experts may think that, knowledge is power. They don't want to share. Some of them say but the major obstacle we saw actually is that the experts are the ones that will put pressure on you. Just let me do the job. I don't want to correct mistakes. Let me do the job. I better to do it from the beginning. Let me do it right the first time, right? But that's a mistake if you're growing. Right?
Very good advice for us.
Okay.
Finishing this podcast, I'll call everybody and talk about that. Thank you for this solution.
My pleasure.
We'll probably try it.
Tá pensando em mudar de profissão ou ter uma profissão nova, começar a trabalhar? Já pensou em trabalhar no mercado financeiro? Já pensou em trabalhar com liberdade geográfica, poder trabalhar de onde você quiser? Ou também já pensou em fazer um salário empilhável que ano a ano você vai ganhando mais? Então eu vou te apresentar aqui a formação de consultores de elite da Portfel. Essa é a formação que vai te pegar do básico e levar ao avançado para entregar tudo o que você precisa para fazer parte do time dos melhores consultores financeiros do Brasil. Mesmo se você ainda estiver dando seus primeiros passos nesse mundo, tá bom? Olha só o que você vai ter. Bootcamp presencial. É um evento presencial que vai te transformar em uma verdadeira máquina de captação de clientes. Você vai ter um treinamento com o Thiago Nigro e com os melhores vendedores do Grupo Primo. É uma experiência inédita no mercado financeiro, tá? Encontro com os sócios do Grupo Primo. Você terá 6 encontros online com diferentes sócios do Grupo Primo. Em cada um dos encontros, você vai masterizar uma habilidade essencial para o seu sucesso como consultor. Você terá calls quinzenais com os analistas da casa de análise que mais cresce no Brasil. Serão conversas e informações de bastidores que só um profissional de investimentos tem acesso, tá? Sinta-se privilegiado ajudado, pois um consultor de elite merece uma equipe de análise de elite também. Treinamento de comunicação. Você saberá exatamente o que fazer e como fazer para que seus clientes enxerguem você como um profissional de elite. Tudo isso pela mesma equipe que faz os maiores influenciadores de finanças do país chegarem aonde estão. Conversas com gestores. Nós te daremos acesso a conversas exclusivas com grandes gestores de fundos de investimentos no Brasil. Pouquíssimos profissionais no mercado têm esse tipo de abertura com os gestores, mas nós te colocaremos para aprender com os melhores. Nada mais valioso para um profissional de investimento do que estar por dentro de aspectos qualitativos dos fundos. Oportunidade para atuar na Portfel. Após completar a formação, você agenda a sua avaliação para começar a sua carreira na Portfel aqui no Grupo Primo, a maior e melhor consultoria de investimentos do Brasil. Esse será o início da fase mais promissora da sua vida, eu tenho certeza. Acompanhamento com consultores de elite. Nós vamos te entregar o que nenhuma outra formação te entrega: mentores que já são consultores de elite para te ajudar a avançar mais rápido. Esses consultores já possuem sucesso na carreira de consultoria, sabem como chegar lá e vão te pegar pela mão para que você avance anos em questão de meses. E o melhor de tudo, você pode ter o seu dinheiro de volta. Todos que captarem 10 milhões de reais nos primeiros 12 meses como consultor terão 100% do seu dinheiro de volta. 100% dos consultores que atingiram 10 milhões no último ano conseguiram em menos de 12 meses. Então você também pode conseguir, beleza? Quiser saber mais, quer se tornar aqui um consultor de elite, quer trabalhar na Portfel, quer ganhar dinheiro no mercado financeiro, ajudando as outras pessoas a enriquecer, link na descrição, QR Code na tela, faça a sua inscrição.